Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Farmington Hills City Council for the evening of May 23rd, 2022. I'd like to welcome you all here tonight and ask that if you want to speak on an item that is on the agenda, please fill out a blue form like this with the agenda item number on it, and we will call on you to speak when that agenda item comes up. We don't want to miss anybody, and we have corrected this since the last snafu, so thank you all. Next is the calling of the meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you all join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we need the roll call.
Mayor Barnett.
Here.
Council members Bolaware.
Here.
Bridges.
Here.
Bruce.
Here.
Knoll.
Here.
Massey.
Here.
And Newland.
Here.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the regular session meeting agenda. Dr. Massey.
Madam Mayor, I would move first that we add to the consent agenda on item 13, which would be the award of purchase order for a Harrison Legacy sculpture, and then approve the agenda with that addition.
Support.
It's been moved by Dr. Massey and supported by Councilmember Knoll. How clearly do you want to follow Robert's rules on this?
I'm not sure. It's a
I don't think
motion
you
has
can
been made and
amend
second.
something unless it's up for discussion. Unless Dr. Massey's motion is to accept the agenda as printed with an addition.
That's perfectly fine with me.
Sure.
That's my intent.
Sure.
Okay, it's been moved by Dr. Massey and seconded by Councilmember Knoll that we approve the agenda with an amendment to add the sculpture at Harrison, at the Hawk, to the consent agenda along with the agenda as published. And that item would become item number 10A.
It would be,
10A.
I think it would be 13.
Mayor, I believe just item 13 would be fine to add it to the consent agenda.
Okay,
as
so you
an
want to add it as
additional
a,
item.
okay.
Yeah.
So after the minutes?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
fine. Okay.
Okay. Any discussion, any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Is it a roll call vote?
No, go ahead.
Okay, opposed? No one. Okay. So now that brings us to the proclamation recognizing May 2022 as National Nurses Month. And I will turn this one over to our Mayor Pro Tem, the illustrious nurse, who knows how hard her colleagues and she have been working in the last few years.
Thank you, Mayor Barnett. This proclamation is for National Nurses Month, May 2022. Whereas the profession of nursing was begun by Florence Nightingale, the Lady of the Lamp, in 1854, where the role was basic caretaking and domestic skills. The profession was influenced by the accomplishments of Clara Barton, Mary Eliza Mahoney, and Dorothea Dix, all nursing pioneers. Now over 4 million registered, practical, and advanced practice nurses represent the largest healthcare profession in our nation. And whereas skills required of the nurse are no longer basic caretaking and advancing from using a second hand of a wristwatch to taking a pulse, writing in pencil on cardexes, wearing white dresses and nursing caps, to now wearing scrubs, lab coats, or street clothes, while recording electronic medical records, understanding life-sustaining technology and science, by being the never-changing constant at the bedside. And whereas nurses are leaders in quality health care, and the health of our nation relies on nurses to deliver primary and preventive care and health education in the acute hospital, chronic care setting, primary care clinics, the public health care agency, doing research, minute clinics, mental health settings, schools, where our military serves, hospices, and our homes, or wherever people need care. And whereas nurses have been the cornerstone in the care of our nation during the continued pandemic, a nurse has immense responsibility, stepping into people's lives when life begins, when life ends, and everything in between. Nurses make a difference in lives' journeys. Our nurses have been given to our nation unending dedication, empathy, courage, endurance, sacrifice, and love. And whereas the recognition of the profession of nursing began in 1982, and this year, American Nurses Association selected the theme, Nurses Make a Difference, to honor the roles and positive impact nurses make in our lives. And whereas this quote by Rosie Williams, an aspiring nurse leader, quantifies the profession of nursing, to do what no one else will do, in a way that no one else can do. In spite of it all, that is what it is to be a nurse. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Vicki Barnett, Mayor of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as National Nurses Month, and will call upon the citizens of Farmington Hills to honor registered nurses and to recognize this indispensable role these dedicated professionals play in keeping our community safe and healthy.
Okay, and
And who will be receiving it is Kim Guzman, Chief Nursing Officer at Beaumont Farmington Hills, and Cheryl Disher, Nursing Professional Development Specialist of Nursing Research Education at Beaumont Farmington Hills.
would you like to join us and say a few words? You don't have to, you can just say thank you, if that makes you happier.
It's my honor.
We need you to go to the microphone.
First of all, Kim Guzman sends her regrets that she couldn't be here tonight. She really wanted to attend, but unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it this evening. However, I am very honored to accept this in honor of all of my incredible colleagues of nurses that work at Beaumont Farmington Hills. It's a great honor, and yes, nurses are all of these things that was listed and read aloud, and I've been a nurse at Beaumont Farmington Hills for 31 years, and I'm also the stroke coordinator, which is also Stroke Month in May. So anyway, I do thank you very much for this, and again, it's quite an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. My daughter-in-law is a nursing professor at Eastern Michigan University, and we do have a shortage of nurses, and she is trying to train them as fast as she can. So thank you very much for all that you do, and Councilmember Newland for all that you do in your private life to keep people safe and healthy. Really appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is a proclamation recognizing June 2022 as Scleroderma Awareness Month. Councilmember Bolaware?
Now, this is the proclamation for Scleroderma Awareness Month, June 2022, whereas scleroderma is a chronic degenerative autoimmune disease in which the connective tissues suffer from an overproduction of collagen that can affect many parts of the body, such as skin, blood vessels, and internal organs. And whereas an estimated 300,000 Americans have scleroderma, which is frequently misdiagnosed and affects approximately 3 to 4 times more women than men, with an onset most commonly between the ages of 25 and 55. And whereas since researchers have yet to identify the exact cause of scleroderma, there is a significant need for further research to increase understanding of the disease and its treatment. And whereas addressing the complex health need of people with scleroderma through comprehensive and coordinated health services is critically important to achieving positive patient outcomes. And whereas through public awareness, the City of Farmington Hills seek to focus on the needs of people living with scleroderma and the continuing improvement of services to those people and their families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Vicki Barnett, Mayor of the City of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as Scleroderma Awareness Month in the City of Farmington Hills and calls upon our citizens to become better educated about scleroderma and the need for increased research and more effective treatments for this disease.
Thank you. And do we have anybody who's going to receive this
Right there.
tonight? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've got it right here. Would you like to say a few words? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pamela Poore, and thank you again for this honor. I represent both the Scleroderma Foundation of the state of Michigan, as well as I'm a parent of a scleroderma patient, my daughter Grace. So this is specifically important to us for a lot of reasons. It touches our family deeply. Grace was diagnosed at age 8. Which makes her incredibly rare. It makes her about 1 in a million for having scleroderma, just being a child. To further that, she is has the most rare type that includes interstitial lung disease, so that makes her about 1 in 5 million to be diagnosed with scleroderma. Grace is very fortunate, thanks to many nurses and doctors and a lot of hospital employees, that hers is reversed, but it is considered inactive. There is no such definition for remission. So for our family, we work very hard to advocate for awareness and education and more support for patients. So this is really important to us. Grace has spoken to over 3,000 second-year medical students at universities in the state of Michigan, including Eastern Michigan University, Central Michigan University, and Wayne State University. So thank you again. We appreciate this.
Thank you. And this one particularly touches Mayor Pro Tem Mary Newland, so would you like to add something?
I want to thank you for coming. I know how devastating this disease can be. My oldest daughter, who's now 30, has got full involvement with her scleroderma, and it was also my mother-in-law who had scleroderma also. So I know how important awareness of our, what I call orphan diseases are, because there's not research put into these kind of diseases. So I applaud your daughter for speaking out who she spoke to, and just, everyone needs to be aware of some of these diseases, which doesn't affect millions of people, but affects how many people throughout the country. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a proclamation recognizing June 2022 as LGBTQ Pride Month. Dr. Bruce, would you like to read that one?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Whereas the struggle for dignity and equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning LGBTQ people is reflected in the tireless dedication of advocates and allies who strive to forge a more inclusive society, and whereas June is declared as Pride Month to commemorate the June 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Lower Manhattan targeting LGBTQ patrons and other marginalized people in violation of their civil rights, leading to the birth of the gay rights movement, and whereas LGBTQ Americans, including our neighbors, coworkers, friends, and family members, face discrimination simply for being who they are, and there remains much work to do to extend the promise of our country to every person, and whereas the landmark Supreme Court decision of 2015 guaranteeing marriage equality in all 50 states was a historic victory for LGBTQ Americans, which affirmed our belief that we all deserve to be treated as equals. And whereas in 2015, the city of Farmington Hills enacted a human rights ordinance stating the city's intent that no person be denied equal protection of the laws, nor shall any person be denied the enjoyment of his or her civil or political rights, or be discriminated against because of actual or perceived race, color, religion, national origin, sex, age, height, weight, condition of pregnancy, marital status, physical or mental limitation, source of income, family status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Now therefore be it resolved that Vicki Barnett, Mayor of the City of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as LGBTQ Pride Month and encourage our community to eliminate prejudice wherever it exists and to celebrate our great diversity by taking part in community events throughout June that focus on and celebrate our LGBTQ neighbors.
Thank you very much, and we will make sure that we send this off to the proper organizations so that they may display it. And I now move to correspondence. Does anybody have a correspondence to report that we all didn't receive? Dr. Massey?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I believe Mr. Leon's letter finally made it to all of the members of council, and he had some concerns and some good suggestions on the panhandling issues that we have been challenged with of recent. I know that some of his suggestions are probably going to be a little difficult, but I know that the mayor's passed that on to the city attorney so that he can be looking at it and we can see if there's something that we can do, because it is a public safety issue and we don't want anybody getting hurt in this situation. So just wanted to bring that up, and that if he's watching, he knows that the information's been passed forward. Thank you.
I think he also got a copy of the email from the city attorney.
Madam Mayor, no, he did not.
Okay.
That was
So,
just,
yeah, I can get back to him and call him. Where we are with this right now is the intersection of Orchard Lake and 12 Mile Road. There have been people standing in the right-of-way, panhandling, and while we allow freedom of expression, we do not allow people to stand in rights-of-ways and cause traffic jams or injure people. Unfortunately, this is not our particular road and our right-of-way. It is a roadway owned in both directions by the county. So we will be reaching out to the county and working with them to see what we can do to address the situation, to make sure that Farmington Hills intersections remain safe and clear for drivers, walkers, and non-motorized transportation, and to alleviate any congestions that may be in our roadways and people may be hit inadvertently. We do not want anybody hurt in our community. So we'll be watching out for that. And for Leon, I hope you are listening. If not, I will send you a quick email later and make sure that you know that we are in the process of looking into your situation. Anybody else? I received numerous emails in the last few days, and I don't know how many of them went to all of us and how many just went to me, regarding the Juneteenth celebration that we are going to be, that's on our consent agenda tonight. People around the county are very excited about our upcoming Juneteenth holiday. It's now a newly recognized federal holiday, and it's the newest federal holiday we have. And we have the AME Church that operates out of Narden Park at 11 Mile and Middle Belt will be hosting a 2.5-day celebration for Juneteenth. And we will hopefully be able to pass on their extensions and parades and their requests for holding their event. And when we do that, everybody is welcome to show up during that Juneteenth weekend and help us celebrate Juneteenth. So just wanted people, yes.
Let me add a few things. I received the same letters, and I made myself the unofficial liaison from council to the Juneteenth committee that's there. And I just want to let people, there's a perception that the city is not doing anything, and that's really not true. We've been working with Gary Metchin and Ellen Snackle and Rachel Timlin They have offered the committee tables and chairs. If the Hawk was not under renovation, the fields, perhaps the Juneteenth celebration could have been held there. Rachel Timlin herself had tried to brand one of our stars in the park as a Juneteenth celebration. Unfortunately, we could not proceed with that because all the contracts had been signed and it was too late to sign it for this year, but it's perhaps next year that we could do something with that.
That'd be great.
And then the city has also, there is a person out of Special Services or Art Commission, her name is Karen Aaron, and she has produced for the Juneteenth Committee, which I'm going to forward to them, a 2-hour walking tour of the city with all of its historical sites and its relationships to the Underground Railroad that we're very excited about. Going to forward that, and perhaps next year, we're going to perhaps with that event, try to boost it up a little bit and get more participants. It came late, but there's some great, there are over 20, which I did not realize myself, because Farmington Hills is such a great history in the Underground Railroad. And there are so many significant sites, buildings that are available that you can see and read the plaques. If anyone would like at this point to get a copy of that, unofficial copy, so that you can perhaps make that trek and report back to us about how long did it take for you to complete the trek? What do you think about it? Is there any additions? That would really be appreciated. But the bottom line is the city has been very helpful with this event. Like many other cities around us, this thing has really been very celebratory in Southfield, Detroit, Madison Heights, Royal Oak, Dearborn Heights, and we hope as the most diverse city in Oakland County, we will continue that tradition here in Farmington Hills.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next is the consent agenda. The Mayor Pro Tem will read the consent agenda as amended. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda for consideration. If you have any questions regarding something on the consent agenda and you would like to speak to that, please fill out a blue form. Otherwise, we will just continue to proceed. Mayor Pro Tem Newland.
The consent agenda as amended. Number 6, the recommended approval of the Michigan Economic Development Grant Project for the Fire Department. This is a CMR 522-52. Number 7, recommended approval of the special event permit for the Farmington area Juneteenth celebration to be held on Friday, June 17th, 2022. Number 8, recommended approval of a special event permit for Amelia's Little Bike-a-thon for MS event to be held on Saturday, June 4th, 2022. Number 9, recommend approval of a request for employment under Section 10.01A of the City Charter for a camp instructor at the Hawk. Number 10, recommend approval for a request for employment under Section 10.01A of the City Charter for an arts and music camp specialist for the Hawk. Number 11, recommend approval of the City Council study session meeting minutes of May 9th, 2022. Number 12, recommend approval of the City Council regular session meeting minutes of May 9th, 2022. And number 13, recommend approval of the award of purchase for the Harrison Legacy Sculpture.
Yes, Mr. Bridges?
Yes, Mayor, I move that the City Council approve the consent items as read by our Mayor Pro Tem, Mary Newland.
Okay, is there a second? It's been moved by Councilmember Bridges, seconded by Councilmember Massey. This is a roll call vote. Is there any discussion? Seeing none? I'll call the
Councilmembers
question.
Bruce,
Yes.
Bulaware,
Yes.
Bridges,
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
and Mayor Barnett.
Yes. And that brings us to public questions and comments. You do not have to have a blue form to speak at this time. Just simply come up to the microphone and tell us what your name is and what street you live on. And I will not, and keep your comments to about 3 minutes or so. And we look forward to hearing from you if you have anything you want to say. So please come forward now. I will now open the public questions and comments. Seeing thousands of people rushing to the microphone, I will have to end that. No, I'm glad you're all here today. I love seeing people in the audience. I am now going to close the public question and comment period because no one has raced to the microphone or even slow walked. And so we will move on now to council members' comments and announcements. I see no one is racing.
Shout out to my Commission on Families and Youth. They did an outstanding program last Thursday for Career and Tech Night. It was held at the Hawk. I would say there was probably 300 people came with 20 vendors, and they were able to explore on one-on-one of the different kinds of career and tech paths each could take. So it would not include high school students, but also anyone in the community or surrounding communities could attend. So I'm for sure they'll be coming in to give a report.
I remember you called me right after that, and you were so excited. You could not believe how many people showed up. It was great. Any other, Dr. Massey?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one real quick comment to our city, and that is that on Monday, we celebrate a very somber Memorial Day, where we are going to be obviously honoring those that have paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we enjoy. And the American Legion, in conjunction with the Exemplar Club, is hosting the Memorial Day Parade, which they do every year. And I'm pretty sure the majority of us are going to attend. And I would like to just, hopefully the weather's going to hold out. It's Michigan, who knows? But I think I looked, and it's probably going to be pretty nice. So I would love to see our community come out and enjoy and pay respects to those people that have given so much to us. And I think it starts at 10 a.m. It's down Grand. It'll run from the southeast near Orchard Lake and Grand River down into downtown Farmington. And I believe there's a short presentation at the Memorial Park, followed by an open invitation for some hot dogs at the American Legion. So please take a few minutes on the holiday to remember the purpose of the holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to point out a plug for our sister city of Farmington. Downtown, they have hung pennants off the light poles to memorialize those Farmington residents who have served in past wars. And if you have time to go to downtown, if you're going to stop by the farmer's market, wander around and don't hesitate to stop and take a look at the flags that are hanging and remember the people who served to keep us safe. I also want to talk about announcements from the clerk's office. We're getting close to absentee ballots going out soon. And the absentee voter ballot applications were mailed out last week to all voters in the city on the permanent application list. Applications can be used to request a ballot for both the August 2nd primary and the November 8th general election. The drive-up drop box in front of the police station has a new look. It is black with red and white lettering, and there is a big red, white, and blue flag next to it that says ballot drop-off. Both absentee voter ballot and ballot applications can be placed in the drop box. So if you received an application and you don't feel like mailing it, you can drop it off in that drop box, and we will be sure to get you on the absentee voter list, and you will receive a ballot sometime toward the end of June. New voter ID cards will be mailed to all voters the first week or two in June due to redistricting. Every 10 years when the census comes out, the legislature redistricts the state senate, state house seats, and the congressional seats, and the county redistricts the county commission seats, and all of those have new numbers attached to them and new district boundaries. So you'll be receiving a new voter card, which tells you what district you're in for what office, and please contact the clerk's office with any questions. The clerk's office phone number, which we do have on our website, is 248-871-2410, 871-2410. And redistricting maps can also be found at the city's website. Several polling locations will be relocated during the August primary only because of construction at several of our public schools and church facilities. The affected voters will also be receiving a separate postcard in June with their temporary polling place location on it for that election day only. And then for the general election in November, you will go back to your regular polling places. All polling locations should return to their normal locations for November, as I said. But one of the things I also want to point out on your primary ballot only, you can't dance around to both sides of the ballot. If you want to vote for Democratic candidates, you can only vote on the Democratic candidate side. Don't add any Republicans. If you want to vote on the Republican side, vote only on the Republican side and don't vote for any Democrats. Otherwise, your ballot as an absentee ballot will be put in the uncountable pile and a spoiled ballot. If you're voting at the polls, that doesn't hold true because the ballot box will spit your ballot out and you will receive a new one with instructions to only vote on one side of the ballot. And we do have problems with this. We've had many ballots that for absentee voters have not been able to be counted because people didn't follow the guidelines for primary voting. It's very important if you want your vote to count, only vote for the candidates in one political party only. One political party only. And press releases will be coming out with this information, and it also will be posted on the clerk's election page so that it can be accessed from the sticky button at the bottom of the home page at the city's website. Does anybody in the audience have any questions regarding that? Okay, I hope I made that very clear. Any other council member comments or announcements? Okay, we'll now move to the city manager update, and we have our assistant city manager, Joe Valentine, here. Do you have any comments?
Yes, Mayor Barnett, thank you. Just a couple quick on behalf of the city manager. First off, a reminder, waste collection will not take place on Monday, May 30th due to the Memorial Day holiday. All pickups will be delayed one day next week, with Friday's collection being made on Saturday. Additionally, I want to give an update on a couple of the most significant road projects we have ongoing currently. First of all, the Orchard Lake project from 13 Mile to 14 Mile. This is an Oakland County Road Commission project that is being conducted in our city. The project involves new underground utilities and an above-ground concrete street with a narrow median and a roundabout. The project is about 25% complete, and traffic is expected to switch to the new pavement to allow work on the second stage in late June. So right now we have northbound closed, that will be reopening, and we'll have southbound closed as the second stage. The project in and of itself is scheduled to be completed and open to traffic in late November. Additionally, the 14 Mile Road project between Farmington and Orchard Lake is under construction. This is a city project. This project involves underground utility work, new concrete curbs, and a new street. The project is also about 25% complete. Paving is expected to start after Memorial Day, and work on the southbound lanes are expected to begin in late June. This project is on schedule to be open to traffic by Labor Day. Thank you, Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next is unfinished business. Consideration of approval of the enactment of Ordinance C-3-2022 to amend the Farmington Hills Code of Ordinances in Chapter 8, Business and Licensing, Article 2, Smoking Lounges, to establish a special permit for hookah smoking areas in smoking lounges and to amend provisions relating to the purpose and intent of the ordinance, definitions, applications for license, basis of approval and denial of the license, special permit, standards of conduct, hours of operation, and temporary disclosures in the interest of the public health, safety, and welfare, and approval of summary for publication. I know I have a blue slip, so we'll call you up after we first have this introduced by Mr. Valentine or Mr. Jopek. Okay.
Sure.
And this is
Yes.
enactment.
this is enactment. This is this has been before city council in study sessions and at your last meeting for introduction and first reading. And it is the same ordinance that was introduced at your last meeting. There have been no changes to it. Just very briefly, I know the mayor described the ordinance, but just as a bit of enhancement on that description, the ordinance currently allows the issuance of permits for dance and entertainment at smoking lounges. This ordinance amends that existing ordinance to also add a permit relating to the consumption and use of hookah at smoking lounges to provide the regulations relating to that and to amend the hours of operation and the duration of temporary closures, as well as the standards of conduct to basically address that new type of permit that is being put into place, and again, to adjust the hours of operation for all smoking lounges.
Okay. Does council have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
Good. This is for city administration or the police department. Have there been any times when I know that there is a provision in the ordinance in our policy that allows for a business to be shut down for 36 hours or a period of time. Have there been any time that we've done that, we exercise that power to close a business down for issues related to the hookah lounges?
I think Chief King is here with the answer,
All right.
or several answers. And I know it's going to start with yes.
Sorry, just to point you, Madam Mayor, I'm going to say thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, for allowing me an opportunity to respond to this question. So in short, yes.
There have been instances where a hookah lounge was subject to closure because of something happened at their location. Premature closing.
In the interest of public safety, it's not only happened at a smoking lounge, but also an entertainment facility.
Is that something that's been common to one or to all the 3 or 4 of the lounges? This moratorium where you cut, where the hours has been, where the operation has been shut down, has it been applied to all hookah lounges, or just 1 or 2 has been subject to this type of penalty?
No, not all. 1 entertainment facility and 2 hookah lounges.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. That's all questions was.
Any other questions?
Not at this point. I think we all received your email detailing some activity at several of our hookah lounges.
Thank you. I stand ready to answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have in the audience, is it Roy or Ray? Roy? And you are from Lush? Okay, yes. Please come up to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Roy Oraha. We own a few businesses in Farmington Hills. I know most of you, they know me. We own the Farmington Hills Manor, the liquor store, the shopping center, the hookah. And I love and I like this city because I'm one of the citizens here for more than 25 years. We try, our family, to bring more business to our city. Not all the time, most of the time, we see something little hard coming to us, and I think Mr. Michael Bridges is one of the, no, I was fighting to do Tim Horton in some area here. They fight with me, and after a few months, they open 100 feet south of me, they open Tim Horton, which means okay. Still, I love this city, and this city is mine. The hookah lounge, when we take it, it's not only me, it's 2 only hookah lounge in all Farmington Hills. It's 2 only. We do surveys with this big city. We spend almost $500,000 in a few years to do our location look nice, more safe. And we close like everybody in time of the Corona. We lose a lot of money. And now when we reopen, we start to spend more money to make our business look nicer for our city. It's only 2 people we are here. And when we heard first, the city, they did not send letter to us to say, hey, guys, we have problem with you. We're going to shut you down at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, which it's mean close your business. Our business is not nightclub. We don't do entertainment there. We apply on the city correctional just for hookah, nothing else. No entertainment, no party, no nothing. Our business, maybe some of you know, or I don't know if they know that, start after 8, 9 o'clock p.m. because people, they go to the work, they come back from the work or from the college after 7, 8 o'clock. They go home, take shower, they come to us between usually 8:30, 9:30 to sit for a couple hours, relax, not necessarily smoke. Some of them, they like just to come because this area can people come, sitting, talk, and we have a lot family. They do that, and we have a few letter. I give it to the Miss Pam. She know that. If what I heard, like they're going to close us at 10 o'clock or 11, that's mean, hey guys, close your business. Me and the another, you are here, right? We spent almost 450 to 500,000 to do this business here. If they was tell us from the beginning, hey, you're going to close 10 o'clock. I don't spend this $500,000 here. I moved to Novi. I moved to Livonia. Livonia, I have approved with me. The hookah lounge there, they open till 4 o'clock in the morning. We open only till 1. They do parties there every weekend. I have in my phone pictures. They open the door 11 p.m. for parties. We don't do this. We like to keep our city safe. We open the business. Yes, it's open noon, but nobody leave his job or leave the college to come smoke hookah at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock, or they coming after they finish the job, which mean 8, 8:39, and usually 3, 4 hours till 1 o'clock. There is, please, and I'm going to say it one more time, please, look to us if you want lose this business. Don't tell us close 10 o'clock. Just tell, guys, close your business. In that case, I need to take a letter from you to the landlord, which means I sign with him 3 years contract, $180,000. If I close the business, I don't close the business, I need to pay him $180,000. The remodeling, we do it. The money, we spend it. I don't know who'll be responsible for that. We have family, we have kids, and we do our best to our city. I like to more open business in my city, and I'm going to do this. Even if you approve me to stay till 1 or no, I'm staying in this city, and I'm push more job for this city because I love this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir?
We have some council members with questions?
Yes.
Dr. Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you,
coming out
Mr.
tonight. Appreciate your business in our city. But I've got just some questions and maybe a couple of concerns. At your facility, do you have any kind of a cover charge or admission fee for people to get
No.
into your business? Okay. Do you have any armed security or people that act as armed security, whether they're hired as security guards or other employees that carry weapons to use
No,
as
sir,
security?
no.
So nobody in your place is armed?
No, we don't do this, no.
Okay, all right. Are you aware of the incidents between 2018 and 2020 at your place of business, the assault and battery disorderly incident, actually 2 episodes of assault and battery, and the attempted murder, and then another assault and battery where subjects were fighting, and then numerous people were seen fleeing from the police at your business? Do you recall those incidents?
I heard it's happened in the parking lot, some problem. I was talking
Okay. Is that
Chief
that
Police.
parking lot attached to your business?
is attached 10 business there,
Okay.
okay?
Were they there for your business, though, those people that were there?
I'm sorry?
Were those people that were in the parking lot there for your business?
I don't know. They was in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming from different city. They came to my business. No, say we are closed.
Okay.
And it was really close. Employees was cleaning, and they was in the parking lot. After that, I heard it was some fight or something, but I know they are not from our city.
Are you the only business there open at that time of night, 10 o'clock, 11
Me
o'clock?
and a
12 o'clock?
restaurant next to me.
Okay, what time did they close?
I think they closed. That time they was closing 11 maybe or 12.
Okay,
Yeah, 12.
okay. Were these people in your business and then left to go into the parking lot, or did they, do you know anything about them?
Son, they use the bathroom? He's my partner. Yeah, come on, son. He's my partner.
Hi, everybody. My name is Wissam Khadr. I'm the owner of Lush Hookah Lounge. So yes, it was at 2 o'clock. A car came into our parking lot. It was 3 girls. They asked us to use the bathrooms, and I have it in camera. They were there only for literally less than 20 minutes. 3 girls used our bathroom, left our parking lot. Is exactly at 2 o'clock, and we have in our Google, we close at 2. They used the bathroom. They left our door. We closed the door. Literally, we're heading out. It was in the next parking lot, not in my parking lot. And I have it, if you guys want to search Wissam Khadr, my name on Google. Even the media said it. It wasn't inside my lounge. I didn't have any fight inside my lounge. It was not fight broken inside my lounge. I didn't have any fight in the parking lot. The car was pulling out, and a different car came from north, 14 mile to our, and just start shooting at the other car. It wasn't no fight at parking lot. And if we go back, I always kept my hookah lounge clean and safe. And if we go see a lot of, I believe that I don't have a lot of calls from the police in my hookah lounge. You guys can see how many calls you guys can go. I've been running the hookah lounge for 4 years. And if you guys go in my history of my lounge, I don't have a lot of police calls. I don't have a lot of fights. You know, I know a lot of, what happens in Farmington because of other hookah lounge. And I just want to say not every owner knows how to run the business correctly. And I apologize for that. And if you guys can help us, and we're going to try our best to keep our business safe and clean, but we cannot judge what happens outside the lounges or outside other lounges, Everybody runs his business different. And I hope you guys go after my name or my record or my lounge record. If you guys see any violence after that, that's the first year I bought it. I'll be here to follow the rules of the city. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a quick comment. So you has the city ever reached out to you guys prior to these incidents? Talk about what they expect regarding abiding by the city's code or zoning regulations? Have you had any discussions with the city prior to these incidents about what the city expect regarding your business? Or have we met with you after these incidents occurred to discuss with you what our thoughts are? Have the city reached out to you?
No.
Okay.
No. I had only just one problem, and it wasn't, and I still have the camera still this day. I did not have a fight inside. Fight wasn't broken in my lounge. It wasn't even a fight outside. It was a car pulling out from the parking lot, and it's in the news and say it. Pulling out from the parking lot, and a different car came from the road, start shooting that car. So that issue was somewhere else and came to there. And the shooting wasn't in my parking lot. It was in the next parking lot. But yes, the 3 girls came, and I have them in the camera, and I gave all the camera. They begged me to use the restroom, and I did. And if I can bring the camera here, if I show, if they smoked by me, or there was a fight in my parking lot, you guys have the right to even shut me down. And that was 4 years ago, and after 4 years, we have no problems. We've been very smooth, everything is good. And I have a lot of customer, I gave her paper. I have doctors comes by me, I have lawyers, I have engineers. I have a lot of people comes by me and do their works. My hookah lounge is like an office to people that don't have an office, I have real estates, and I believe they gave me the paper, and even I have emails I can show you. They emailed me to bring you guys what they want to say. Like, they come there and do their work, and then.
Your other, I don't want to speak on their behalf, the other 3 guys are here.
Yeah,
Are they part of your same location? Or are they-
No, he's in 12 Orchard Lake.
He's in 12 Orchard Lake.
Around 12 and a half
12 and a half.
on the right side.
And where are you located at? Where's your location? You on Orchard Lake as well?
2870 Orchard Lake Road, Farmington House.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Of 12
And
on the east side.
Yeah, I know where you're
cross
located.
street from the Farmington Hospital, animals.
Yes, I got you.
Yes, cross street from it.
Okay, thank you.
And just one more thing, we have good relationship with the police. That's the good thing.
Thank you.
We like them, they come there, they walk all the time, they see us, which means I hope.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Newland, you have a question for
Yeah,
them?
so I was going to continue the same question that Councilmember Michael Bridges has. What communication have you had in the last 6 months?
Need you to go back to the
From
mic.
the city? In terms of emails, calls?
Just I know they came from inspection, from fire department, which means we pass it all, and from the building. But as city to call us to communicate, no, we don't have nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Knoll?
Thank you. No, I actually have a question for the police chief.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Would you be able to tell us what calls you have received regarding Lush, or calls/police responses, incidences that are documented that the police have had to respond to? Could you, because I'm hearing that there's been one incident 4 years ago, 3 girls needed to use the bathroom, they were let in to use the bathroom, they went to leave and some random car drove down Orchard Lake and started shooting at them. So that's what I've heard. I'm curious what you have, what's been documented on the police side.
Thank you, ma'am. As a brief summary, not going into too much detail, but in 2018, we had a fight inside that resulted from inside the establishment out into the parking lot. We responded there, suspect was detained, and the victim refused to prosecute. There were injuries. Again, the victim refused to prosecute. In 2019, a disorderly incident, which was believed to be a fight, occurred again, pushed outside of the building into the parking lot, led to a traffic-related arrest. In 2019, there was another incident consistent with that, occurring or originating from some disagreement inside the building, going outside into the parking lot, and then the fight or assault occurred in the parking lot. We were able to arrest that individual. The charges were dismissed after the victim refused to testify and cooperate with prosecution. In 2019, there was an attempted murder. We did not respond to a 911 call there. The business was opened and occupied. No one called 911. A young girl was shot, seriously injured, and self-deployed to Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital for treatment. Upon going into a hospital, you cannot enter into a hospital with a gunshot wound and not expect the police to be called. We were called. That's how we were notified of that incident. When we responded to Henry Ford and spoke with the victim of the gunshot and her friends who self-transported in the vehicle, they reported the incident happening at Northwestern and Inkster, a hookah lounge located on Northwestern just south of 14 Mile Road, Orchard Lake area. Based on those circumstances, we had police departments from Southfield, Novi, Farmington, and West Bloomfield respond to all of our hookah lounges throughout our city because we didn't know what we had. We didn't know if we had multiple victims. We didn't know if we had suspects. We didn't know what we had. Upon finding the location that the victim and her friends reported, there was no evidence of a shooting there. There were no shell casings. There were no bullet hole damage. There was no evidence whatsoever. So immediately we started expanding that to other area hookah lounges, again with those mutual aid requests from other police departments. And we quickly came across Lush, the parking lot of Lush, multiple shell casings, multiple bullet holes in the surrounding businesses. It did happen in the parking lot, and after investigating that, we did obtain CCTV footage from surrounding businesses in the aftermath that did show 3 males and 3 females associated with each other, either entering into the business, Lush Hookah, and then exiting out of the business. Shortly after exiting out of the business, there was gunfire from multiple vehicles, at least 2, multiple shooters. By the number of shell casings and the different calibers collected that day, we were able to identify a minimum of 3 different firearms. We did have follow-up investigation. We did contact one of the owners and interview them, and we have additional from a recent contact when we went out to do the security survey recently. When we began, I want to stop there. Does that answer the question for Lush Hookah? There was an additional assault and battery in 2020. That there were several subjects fighting in the lot. Again, once we did get a call, 911 call, we responded. Typically, the individuals will enter the vehicles, leave at a high rate of speed out onto Orchard Lake in different directions, and we're unable to either identify victims or suspects in any kind of an assault like that. There were 2 additional calls for service where we reached out to the owners and we pulled reports. We have body cam footage and we have calls for service dating times, in addition to documents that we mailed out to all the owners. We personally hand-delivered them, and we were making contact. That is in 2021, 2022, when this ordinance came into effect. Prior to that, when we had prior incidents at the establishments, we did make contact. We had our officers and sergeants from our directed patrol unit go in and talk to people. We tried to reach out, and we made those efforts saying, how can we help you increase security, increase safety, so we're not having these kind of incidents at these establishments. We would do it for Burger King, we would do it for a smoking lounge, we would do it for a gas station, we would do it for a residence. That's what we do. That's the type of police department we are. We don't just show up, write a report, take somebody to jail. We try to work with our community to improve our public safety at every opportunity. But we are one entity. We are the police department. We're not the owners. We're not the patrons. So with that, I'll answer any other questions.
I just have a follow-up to that. So these multiple incidences that you've just described, I just want to clarify, did you respond because you received a 911 call either from a patron of the business, whether they were in the business or in the parking lot, or they were at a hospital? My point in asking this question is I just want to see if someone actually reached out to the police department, or if this was because the police department was targeting the business and sitting in the parking lot, 2 doors down to try to look for an incident. Can you describe how you responded?
In the assault
Which
and
way?
in the assault and batteries of 2018, 19, again in 19, and in 2020, we responded to a 911 call. Most disturbing is in 2019, the attempted murder with multiple shots fired. We received no 911 calls.
That was when they went to the hospital, and so you were notified when they were in the hospital?
So,
Okay.
which is very concerning on a public safety aspect and a law enforcement aspect. Investigative, our first priority is life safety. We could put the investigation aside, but life safety is paramount. And so when we have a young woman who was struck by indiscriminate gunfire and had to be self-transported, no one called 911, the individuals in the car Googled. Through our investigation, we confirmed that the individuals in the car Googled the hospitals near me with this young woman suffering from a significant gunshot wound, and drove self-transported to a local hospital. That is how we got involved, and that is a concerning trend at best when we're going to hospitals because of gunshot victims, because of stabbing victims, and we're not getting 911 calls to get us to the locations to not only provide life-saving care, but any kind of criminal enforcement or investigative matters. That's probably the most concerning to me.
Dr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for that information. Just maybe a couple observations and a question or two. I would think a prudent person, if bullets are flying into their home or their business, would immediately get on the phone and call 911. I know that's what I would do, and I've called 911 for far less than bullets coming into a business or a home. I would think that would be a pretty startling thing to have happen, and that a prudent person would call 911 to get help, and to get help for somebody that maybe is obviously injured. That would normally is what happens, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you talk to the owner after you discovered that the shooting took place at Lush? And if you did, what was their excuse for not calling the police when this crime occurred? I'm sorry, I'm asking the chief.
If you give me a moment to formulate my answer, sir, I apologize.
Sure, no, that's okay. I know that's some maybe sensitive information, so whatever you can discuss.
Based on recent revelations and interviews by our investigative lieutenant and the owner, things that were disclosed this time that weren't disclosed earlier, because it's an active and open investigation, I don't feel comfortable
Okay.
talking about that.
I understand, not a
But
problem.
there was information that was revealed recently at the security survey that wasn't revealed at the time of the active investigation.
Well, that would be my concern about any business that doesn't report a crime or crimes. To me, that seems like somebody's got a ulterior motive there for maybe doing something like that, especially I've owned businesses. If I had a business where bullets were flying in, whether it was my customers or not, I would be on the phone with 911, probably while I was on the floor, and trying to get as much police support there as I could. That seems the logical thing to do. So when I see something that doesn't make sense, when it doesn't add up, when it's not logical, there tends to be another explanation there. And that explanation tends to be that somebody doesn't want that kind of response for their other reasons. So I think those reasons speak, sometimes silence speaks much louder than words. And so I think in this case, that silence is kind of screaming out that some other motive is there as to why somebody doesn't call the police when their customers are being shot and bullets are flying into their business. That's not normal business operations from any kind of a business. And it, again, screams something's wrong here. So that's my comments. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, Dr. Massey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, thank you for your comments so far. A couple of, an observation, first of all, is I don't want to focus on your establishment because it is not one establishment that we are having challenges with, but it seems to be a subset of businesses, all of whom are in the hookah lounge realm. So a comment's been made earlier. This is more of a comment to me, by me, rather than a question. I'll follow it up with a question. But the comment is that we originally started identifying a few years back that there seems to be a problem. This council took action in, I believe it was August, that passed the first business licensing issue, and that extended it did have a close time in it, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was interesting to me that we never heard from anybody in the industry. Subsequently, I do know that there was an incident at another establishment that took place at 2-something in the morning that resulted in multiple people being shot. And there are other instances in between all of those. Your data that you have presented to us shows that the majority of these events takes place after what time at night?
74% after 10 p.m.
74% after 10 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And yet our first that went to 1 p.m. didn't seem to have any effect, didn't even get a response. So because of these concerns, we are now looking at and have introduced an ordinance that makes us even more restrictive. And our compromise was to go to 11 p.m. because of the statistics, the crime statistics that have been demonstrated. I hope this is not too vague a question, but in your experience, which I know is fairly large, have you seen a subsector of businesses that seem to have a concentration of events that are occurring? Like
Yes, sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
Another subset of,
Another subset? No, I apologize. I thought you were asking for a specific. We saw a initial increase in violent crime and police response in 2020 at entertainment facilities. That has died down. We've worked very close with that individual owner regarding CCTV cameras, regarding security, regarding procedures, closing times, opening times, check-ins, check-outs of juveniles, things of that nature for specific to that business.
and if I interrupt you.
Yes, sir. Go
Just on that one, that business group was also in the ordinance that was passed, that was introduced and enacted back in August. And that gave you the tools then to work with them. And it has,
Subsided significantly.
so this sector is part of the problem that didn't, the intention was that that same thing would have happened. You would have seen these subsiding incidents, the incidents subsiding, let me rephrase that. With this, but it did not. So we're back to this same. Okay, I think that about sums up my questions and a couple of comments.
If I can add anything to it, sir, I asked, the police department asked for this originally, and then we readdressed it when it wasn't working. That's why we're here again today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Member Bowler.
Yes. Thank you. So, thank you. You know, I was one of the council members when we first discussed this ordinance, the first one, in which I was pushing for a 2 o'clock closure, and they were pushing for a midnight. We compromised and we settled for 1 o'clock. And when we presented the revised ordinance, I was still skeptical about or did not support the midnight or the 11 o'clock closure. But hearing what I heard today, you know, I heard our chief lay out several incidents going back to 2018 behind what one of the owners had mentioned. They had not had any problems with that particular lounge one time, and it was in the parking lot. And there were several incidents, and when there was a shooting, I think you talked about a shooting, and no one called the police or EMS to help that particular victim. It's very disturbing to me that apparently the chief has laid out certain points that he can back up with facts because we have records of those, I would imagine, in the police department, every incident with a police report. And when the owner came to the podium, none of those were mentioned. You know, one of the primary purposes of council is for the health, safety, and welfare, you know, of our community. And it's very disturbing to hear some of the incidents that have happened, and it really pains me to have to change my vote because I was going to, I liked everything in this ordinance. I thought it was a very good ordinance as far as cameras and when you apply for a license in the city that, you know, you use a name that we can attach that facility to. And the only problem I had with the ordinance was the 11 o'clock closure. But the more I hear from fellow council members, and in particular, the more I heard from you, Chief King, and then what I heard, what the owners had mentioned, that no one had ever reached out to you to talk about the problems that we're having and having Chief King state emphatically, no, we did reach out to them and talk to them. And obviously, I don't know if the concern was taken seriously or the behavior continued. It would be difficult for me at this juncture to not approve the ordinance because of the 11 o'clock closure. So it pains me because I think it's going to be very difficult to run your business with 11 o'clock closure, but based upon all the behavior and the reports and the runs that we've had to make, I don't know what else is possible to do at this juncture.
Mr. Bridges?
Yes, I just also wanted, I would belabor the point, but that I was also considering not supporting the ordinance because of the 11 o'clock closure. And like the councilwoman has stated, I agree with all the specifics in the ordinance itself, but my disagreement was with the 11 o'clock closure. But based on the fact that there has been prior contact with the business, secondly, there have been, you have applied the cooling off period. You said that's been done. And thirdly, the information from the owner in regards to, and what the police chief has stated in regards to the fact that there was an incident regarding a gun, and that person was injured, emanating from that location, and that the business did not report that did not call for service, and the individual had to just drive themselves or had some assistance to get to the hospital in an attempt to possibly, I don't know why that was that way, but that's clearly shares some issues regarding the business. I don't want to just say blanket character, but something about the fact that they did not want to do the right thing, and that's not good. So for that reason, I'll be supporting the ordinance to in its full extent. Now, currently, the business is closing now at 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock right now.
I believe
1 o'clock?
they're operating up until 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
I'd have to
Okay.
defer to them.
Yeah. So for those reasons I mentioned earlier, I will be supporting the ordinance as written. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just one
Yes.
quick. One of the things that was stated earlier is that 74% of the police calls, incidences that are happening at there were actually 4 hookah lounges in the city, have been after 10 p.m. But one of the other things I just want to point out is that based on a recent survey of cigar bars, which are similar, the majority of cigar bars in this region close at 11. Specifically the one right in Farmington, downtown Farmington, is 11. And many of our neighboring communities are 11. I think there's like one that might be midnight, but the rest are 11.
I would say that, I'm sorry, Mayor, I was at a cigar bar myself on Saturday. Churchill's closed at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, yeah, Churchill's closes at 11. That one I know, because I know people that, yeah.
Dr. Massey?
Madam Mayor, it's more
We're
of
doing
a-
this, so I figured you wanted to do this.
It was more before, we're having a lot of dialogue, but some of us are starting to talk about, do we want to support, not support? Do you want a motion before, so that we can continue discussion on a motion?
I think we'll get there in just about 1 minute. I want to close the
Okay.
discussion and then
Okay,
we'll
I
have a
just-
motion. Thank you. Ms. Newland?
Well, last time we spoke of this, I was not in support of the ordinance. But listening and applying this to other businesses I go to, if I walked out of the nail salon, or if I walked out of the grocery store, and that parking lot, even though it may not be your parking lot, it's your parking lot, it's still your front door, your gate, your front step to your business. So I see there's a lack, there should be some kind of responsibility that, yes, it didn't happen in your 4 walls, but it happened on your front porch. And to hear that a call was not made, a person's life was at risk, and again, I also support that we have to protect our residents too. So this is one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make sitting up here. But I would like to be able to support this ordinance with the potential of being able to maybe revisit it in a short time again, to see if things are improved. Have the safety practices been put into place? And whether there's been no more instances in place happening. So, yes, that's my thought process for this evening.
Any more comments? Well, just, wait, 1 minute. Any more questions and comments from council? Okay, I would like to add something first. To be fair, the incident where someone was shot was not your particular business. I want to make that very clear on the record because there seems to be a misperception. However, the perpetrators of that incident, allegedly perpetrators of that incident because charges were not pressed, went to Lush right after. And there were shell casings found in the Lush parking lot after that event. So while the shooting did not happen at Lush, and I want to put that on the record, make that very clear, I do not want to defame a business owner in our community. This is not an action that we are taking lightly with this ordinance, nor are we trying to single out any particular business owner or group of owners. We want to make sure that the health, safety, and welfare of our residents throughout the community are protected. And every time we try to put in place regulations that will protect the public and will protect your next door business owners as well, because I'll tell you right now, I would be afraid to go to a restaurant next door to you because of the gunshot activity, the trafficking, and the other illegal acts that happen in the parking lot outside of your door. And that's very disturbing to me because that harms the entire business climate in the community of Farmington Hills. And for that reason, I think this ordinance is crucial, important, and I have no problem reviewing this ordinance in a year to see if it's made any changes in the behavior of the patrons who come to your business. You can't be responsible for who walks in the door, but you are responsible for the people who are already in your door and in your parking lot to protect them, to keep them safe, and to provide an atmosphere around your business that makes other patrons feel comfortable going to the other businesses. While the landlord hasn't said anything or done anything about this, I do not know. But if I were the landlord of that building, I would have taken action a long time ago to make sure that my strip mall was safe and welcoming to everybody and that there wouldn't be gunshots, gunshot casings, patch-out driving at high-speed activity, endangering the patrons not only in the parking lot, but the neighborhoods that are around these establishments where children and families live, and they deserve to live in the peace confines of their neighborhood, dwelling in an area of complete safety. And so I know you want to add something, but I think we've heard as much as we can, and it's not going to change anybody's mind here. We would love to continue working with you, and I'm going to ask for a motion to pass this ordinance, but I want to make it very clear. We take pride in our business owners and our business economic development and the residents who choose to live, work, and raise a family and grow old in our wonderful, one of the safest cities in Michigan communities. And nothing is going to stop this council from making sure that our residents know that we're serious about protecting their health, safety, and welfare. And at this moment, again, I want to apologize if there was any inference that there was any wrongdoing by you not calling 911. It was at a different location, but the potential perpetrators then came to your doors.
Sorry, because I wasn't there. Because the customer were in the parking lot. It wasn't, we didn't see the shooting. The shooting we saw on the camera. And the customer, they were hanging out in the parking lot. We closed, we left. And I got a call from 911. They said there was shooting in your parking lot.
Well, this was a different incident. This was a separate incident.
We only had one incident. This is the same one he's talking about. I was not there.
think that you're disregarding the actions of 2022.
I have only one exit.
So,
I only have one
well,
shooting.
we have an
You can ask
entire,
me, I only have one shooting.
I understand, sir, but we have an entire report of shotgun shells found in the parking lot.
I was not, I will have. full
I
stop.
understand.
Because
I understand you, we're not trying to regulate you. We're trying to regulate the types of businesses that fall into this category. This is not an action we're taking against specific people. Please be well aware of that. We've had activities at hookah lounges that we need to go the extra step for. You're getting caught up in that kind of disciplinary action that we have been forced to take and forced to raise our hands against as a council in this community because of maybe other bad actors, patrons, whatever. Again, we are happy to revisit this, and sir,
Everybody voted because they thought I didn't call the cops. I just want to make it.
nobody voted yet. We will be voting in a minute.
I was not in the lounge when it happened.
Okay.
We closed, we went home, and they.
I understand, sir.
For like 20 minutes.
Please, I'm bringing it back to council. We understand that you may not have been there. I want you to understand this is not a personal vendetta. No, that's okay, and I apologize too. I want to make sure that you provide a welcoming environment for your patrons and that we provide health, safety, and welfare for your patrons and our citizens as well. So I will now ask for a motion. Dr. Massey.
Madam Mayor, I would move for enactment of Ordinance C-3-2-2022 to amend the Farmington Hills Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Business Licensing, Article 2, Smoking Lounges, to establish a special permit for hookah smoking areas in smoking lounges and to amend provisions relating to the purpose and intent of the ordinance, definitions, applications for licenses, basis for approval and denial of license and special permits, standards of conduct, hours of operation, and temporary closures in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare, and approval of summary for publication.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Massey, seconded by Dr. Bruce. Again, I will roll call on this. It will take effect, if it passes, 21 days after this date. And what I'm hearing coming from the Lush Lounge owners and the people who run it is that they would love the opportunity to sit down with our police department to make sure that we run a very safe business in this city. We would greatly appreciate that. And the council promises, if the statistics change at all, that the council will go back and review this ordinance to possibly open it up and make sure that our safety measures have worked and that everything continues as it does so that maybe we can expand the hours. And we are committed to doing that if you're committed to working with us and making sure that your business is a great citizen of the city of Farmington Hills. So now I'll call for the roll call vote. Thank you.
Council members Bolaware,
Yes.
Bridges.
Yes.
Newland,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
and Mayor Barnett.
Yes, and I do thank you for coming out. We did receive 13 emails in favor of your business. People were very warm and kind about the operation that you run. We did compromise on an 11 o'clock closing because that fits more in line with cigar bars, and as a smoking establishment, we didn't want to have that much differentiation between what was going on in other communities. And again, we thank you for your patience, your time, and your energy. And I know this is disappointing to you, but again, we both want the same thing, you and I. And I'm sure together that we can work this out so that everybody wins in the long run. And thank you, and don't hesitate to contact us, and we are happy to work with you. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, moved by Councilmember Bridges, seconded by Councilmember Bruce. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night, Farmington Hills.